Hi, I'm Brett with the Craft Beer Connoisseurs, and before this episode begins, I just wanted to provide you with a little information on who we are and how you can stay updated on all of our content. This podcast was created to showcase craft breweries and indulge in interesting conversation. We want to help promote a variety of breweries and along the way have conversations ranging from sports to beer and beer to just about anything. Please feel free to follow us on Instagram at Craft Beer Cons, send a friend request on Tap, or subscribe on YouTube at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Also, drop a comment, like, and subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Now stay tuned for today's episode. Welcome to Craft Beer Connoisseurs. I'm Brett.
I'm Tyler.
And I'm Chris. And along with us today is producer Devon.
Hi, so Devin. In today's episode, hello Devin, how's it going over there? In today's episode, we will be reviewing Grain and Grit Beer Co. out of Hamilton, Ontario.
Yeah, and you guessed it, we're going to be doing two beers, much like we've done pretty well every episode, except for, I believe it was episode 2.
Yeah.
Where we did 4. So we're going to be trying two different beers today. One is called the Double Palms, which is a double IPA with lactose, pineapple, and mango. And then the second one is Night Owl, which is a Sour Cherry Stout.
Wow, those both sound awesome, and we've never done a sour stout, so that should be interesting for sure. And then to finish up the episode, we're going to talk about our favorite meals to cook, as well as our favorite places to order takeout.
Nice. So look forward to that. But before we get there, I want to just put out a special happy birthday to Chris.
Chris, wow, I'm blushing.
Chris,
can we put in some audio like "Happy Birthday to you"?
We'll put something in right here, and we'll leave it blank, and we'll be right back with the brewery talk.
Happy birthday!
All right, and we're back after those birthday celebrations.
Oh, I'm tired out after those.
So many celebrations. So we're talking about Grain and Grit, which is located in Hamilton, Ontario, at 11 Ewan Road. The building actually was an old mechanic shop, and it was bought in December of 2016. And then the brewery itself opened up in October of 2017. So less than a year later. And I mean, you get that old mechanic shop kind of vibe when you look at it.
Yeah. And you get like the classic garage door, right?
Yeah.
That's
right.
A staple in a lot of craft breweries, right? And so the brewery itself was actually born out of the owners' love of beers. So the owners are Joe and Lindsay. And so basically on their trips to breweries, they would always kind of take a look at the beers and then one day picture what their brewery would look like and kind of take all the good things that they liked about the different breweries and say, nice. Okay, we want to put this into our brewery.
Yes, for sure. And so actually one night, Lindsay was making some homemade kombucha. I think kombucha. I actually don't even know how to freaking say the word.
Kombucha.
But anyway, thank you.
There you go.
And so she was making fun of Joe for stating that she was brewing something, and he was pretty much like, you know what, I'm doing it. We're going to open a brewery. So Joe actually decided to leave his career as a mechanical engineer, and Lindsay left her career as a designer / art director. So apparently a perfect marriage of skills, if you will, to open Grain and Grit.
That's impressive.
So
I mean,
right?
Yeah.
And that's a crazy like leap of faith, right? To
Absolutely.
just kind of go from home brewing and just be like, let's open up our own brewery.
You see
Sometimes
that with a lot of
take
breweries.
those risks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. They're taking a lot of jumps, right? So they actually connected with the guy named Alex, who's now their head brewer. He moved back from Germany in 2017, and he is actually working in the wine industry, but always wanted to brew beer. So far, it seems like it's worked out, I think.
That's a good switch. I mean, I would switch over as well. So, I mean, we appreciate that.
And to get a brewer from Germany, I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with that. Like beer is basically comes from Germany. I think that's awesome.
Germans know a little thing or two, right?
Oh yeah.
But here's the thing that I don't understand is that Alex was in Germany, but was doing wine, which isn't something you would normally get, right? Like so,
right.
It is weird how it worked out, right?
Yeah, but diamond in the rough.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now the thing is I've been before.
Aren't you lucky?
Yeah, I was very lucky, but that was a couple years back actually. So probably not too long after they opened. But
and I believe you were there with our producer Devon, were you not?
yeah, Devin, myself, and we were there for a friend's birthday, and God, I miss those days.
Yeah,
But,
wasn't that a time we go to somebody's like place and actually hang out with them and like drink? Good
It's
times.
nice it's nice to see the evolution of the brewery, though, even in the last couple of years. Devin's gone, I think, twice as well, and so you see from what they started with to what they have now, and they've really come a long way with it, which was nice, right? So.
Yeah, and I will say we were planning to go there as a group at the end of January, and unfortunately, because of the lockdown, we weren't able to go there and meet with Alex and Lindsay and Joe. But Brett, you and I spoke with Lindsay over Google Meet, so we were able to kind of obviously not see the brewery, but get a lot of inside information from her through that.
Absolutely. So in terms of Grain and Grit, they are a small batch brewery. All right. So they're making a lot of one-offs with some different variations. So for the most part, they have low ABVs, but big, bold flavors. So some examples of the beers that they've had include the Berry Good, Invisible Friend, and one of their quickest sellers, which is the seasonal Winter White Stout, which is actually made with actual candy canes involved in that.
Ooh.
Yeah. And I think Lindsay said that went in like 3 weeks this year or something.
Oh, yeah. It was gone instantly for sure.
Absolutely. That's impressive. And then
so they...
I was just going to say... Yeah, I was just going to say with the name of the brewery, right? You guys got some insider information on that. So do you want to explain that, Chris?
Yeah, so basically Lindsay said, obviously, when you're opening up a brewery, any business really, but brewery especially, it takes a lot of grit and determination in order to see the project. And also it takes a lot of grain to make beer. So Grain and Grit just kind of seemed like a perfect name for the brewery.
Absolutely. And they also want to be a community brewery, right? So they're supporting local restaurants with pop-ups, the craft beer shops, which has become a thing in the past year, obviously, due to COVID. They don't have any plans to head to the LCBO or beer stores. They want to keep everything pretty local to them and in the community as well.
Wow.
Yeah. And to that point, because if they were in the LCBO or the beer store, they need to have basically like they're a staple beer all year round, and that's kind of not what they do, right? They're always releasing different things. Now they may release the same beer every year, but they don't have it year round. So, and that's kind of how they want to keep it.
Right. And so one of the points that you guys mentioned out when we kind of talked offline about this was when COVID-19 hit, right? Lindsay and Joe, they were actually away. And I mean, we're kind of rolling it back into the name of the brewery with the grit portion. They thought, well, heck, we might have to kind of close this puppy up and pack her in. But due to them being an essential business, they again showed grit, showed that kind of willpower to pivot and change things. And so now they're doing a lot of that kind of e-commerce kind of website stuff and selling it obviously directly from the brewery. And again, it's got to be tough because they're not in the LCBOs. They're not doing that beer store. They don't have that staple beer, but that's kind of their image, right? Is they have the variety. So I think it's nice to see that kind of difference between them and other breweries.
Correct. And I think like obviously once everything opens back up, it's gonna be a brewery that people draw to, right? I mean, they also have Fairweather down the street from them, so that's a big hitch there too. So you can hit two breweries in one fell swoop. And actually, their patio before COVID in 2019 really only had 4 tables. Then COVID with the licensing laws and everything, actually their patio was able to have over 100 people last summer, which is a big change for them for sure.
Yeah, and they did like what a lot of breweries did, where they basically took over their parking lot with patios, tables, because why not, right? So, yeah, that was awesome. And then one thing they've begun to offer, I think, just in 2021 is memberships. So this is really a cool concept. So they have both local and long distance memberships. And basically it includes special discounts on beer, access to some recipes, which is kind of cool if you're a home brewer. And then, a certain percentage off certain beers and purchases and everything like that. So, if you really are interested in them, get one of their memberships and you're set. And I think they offer in different increments, like 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, things like that.
Absolutely.
Right. And I think somebody on our Untapped, I believe it was, or was it Instagram? One of our friends,
It was Instagram, yes.
Followers, they mentioned that about the membership for Grain and Grit too. So it's nice to see some of our followers as well as their consumers, right? So I'm sure that person's going to be looking forward to this episode.
Exactly. And they were actually drinking, they had mentioned that they were drinking a Double Palms, which is be nice to actually get into that in a little bit as well. I know.
Yep.
Chris doesn't know that. He's not connected to the whole social media aspect.
No, I'm hands off on that.
Which is I think for us is probably a good thing. Anyway, in terms of what Grain and Grit also has to offer, they also have some trivia nights, which obviously you see a lot of breweries doing virtually currently. So you can actually get bonus points for drinking Grain and Grit beers, along with if you win, you can get some discounts for some online codes on the website as well.
Nice. So I think we've kind of talked about that perfect marriage, right, between Lindsay and Joe and how that kind of works with their skill set. And when you look at the simplicity of their logo, their design, and what they have inside the brewery, it's beautiful. Like, it is an actual beautiful brewery. It's very clean. It's very simple. Again, I haven't been there in a little bit, but going through some of the pictures. Their website follows that same kind of design into their website. It's easy to follow along. Obviously, you want the simple process for the consumer, right? And they've taken that into consideration. But yeah, they've got different kinds of products on there when you're talking about jams, cold brews, and they've partnered with, again, going back to the roots, back to the community. So you see that kind of throughout their whole brewery. That simplistic, community-based business. So kudos to them.
Absolutely. And Grain and Grit is open 12 to 6, Wednesday to Sunday. They obviously provide free locals delivery in Hamilton, Dundas, and Ancaster. And the shipping cost anywhere in Ontario is based on the amount of beers that you actually buy. It's not really a flat rate, just an FYI.
Yeah, so definitely, if you're interested, get into that. We're going to link all of their information on our social media.
Not Chris, though. Not Chris. Chris is not going to be doing that.
Do that.
He will not be doing it. But with that being said, I think it's time that we should get around to cracking the first one.
So again, thanks to Lindsay at Grain and Grit for supplying us with the beers in today's episode. Hopefully all four of us as a group can get down there to the brewery soon enough.
Yes,
the first beer that we're going to have today is the Double Palms.
So emphatic.
Double New England IPA. Just an FYI to Chris, who thought maybe the original one wasn't. Anyway, it is a 9.5 ABV. And the IBU is actually unspecified. However, this is a double version of their In the Palms regular IPA, which has a 90 IBU. So the math adds up. This one has to have 180 IBUs.
Yes, has to. That's exactly how that works, right?
Yeah, I was because I don't think that's how that works, but you might be seeing
it's
double because
it's quick mental math.
You have a couple of these at 9.5. You will definitely be seeing double, and your math might be double at that point too.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So this beer is described as being super juicy, and it drinks like a tropical fruit cocktail. It's brewed with lactose, pineapple, and mango. It is literally the perfect lockdown beer because it will transport you to the tropics.
That's such a beautiful picture you paint.
Oh, thank you.
A man with his words, and I love it. Anyways, so you can follow us on Untapped at Craft Beer Connoisseurs. Throw us a friend request on there, and we'll follow you back. And when we look at the Double Palms, it is a 3.9 bottle caps out of 5. There's only been a total of 95 check-ins, so not a whole lot of check-ins. And we're gonna add a couple more here, though.
Absolutely,
good rating though.
And again, the limited amount of check-ins comes from being all one-offs, right? So it's the first time that they've made a double IPA, which is why it's a little bit lower than what you would normally see.
For sure. All right, let's grab our beers, grab our glasses, and let's open her up.
And just as we're going through here, our producer Devon, because he's a lucky man, he actually went to Grain and Grit during the summertime last year and was able to pick up some Grain and Grit beers, including the original In the Palms. and he rated it a 4 out of 5. So let's see if this one measures up to the original one. All right.
Yeah, and this
see if
is,
she's
as
comparable.
we mentioned. Yeah, as we mentioned, this is a New England IPA, a double IPA. So we're drinking it out of a double IPA glass. The glass is twice as thick as a regular IPA glass. So make sure to use your proper glassware.
I'm glad we're not drinking this out of a big gulp from 7-Eleven like our last producer special.
You like the slurp, yeah.
I just hope that nobody actually believes that there's a double IPA glass out there.
I was hoping you wouldn't say anything and then see if people would be like, oh, I need to get my hands on a double IPA glass.
Our credibility would be absolutely shot. And the only thing I could think of is like my dad's glasses from the 80s that were just like the pop bottle, like thickness, you know? Anyways, let's talk about this beer, not my dad's glasses.
No.
I feel as though people want to listen more about the beer than your dad's glasses. Anyway. As Chris said, you like the smell of the beer so far, Chris?
Oh, it smells great. I mean, definitely smells tropical.
It smells like I'm in Cuba already.
And it's got the color, like a nice mango color. So
I was going to say, it looks good. It's a beautiful looking beer.
It looks like orange juice almost.
Yeah.
Like seriously.
It
kind
really
of like
does.
that, like a fruit blend, kind of like like the pineapple, the mango, like the orange juice, kind of what you get out of those like Oasis containers. Mm-hmm. That's what this puppy looks like. Good head retention on it, sticking around.
Does Oasis juices have a good head retention on them or no?
I don't. I don't know. I drink it out of the big juice box. It's a juice box for adults.
It's true. The one thing to note is that these aren't purees in these beers. These are the actual fruits themselves, just an FYI. So we have actual mango, actual pineapple, and then obviously with the lactose thrown in to mix it all about.
Yeah, and producer Devon is coming through telling us that it smells like he's on a cruise.
Yeah, producer Devon likes his cruises.
Is he 80?
Yes.
Might be.
The one thing he doesn't like though is his 24-hour layovers, like he had last time he was on a cruise.
I think the issue though is again with the 9.5, he might have his sea legs after a couple of these things, right? So you'll be seeing double and you'll be walking all over the place. But do you guys want to start getting into it? Because I'm looking at this thing and I'm thinking, juice cocktail.
Let's do
it. We're up here. Cheers. Oh yeah, that's thick for sure.
Yeah, definitely thick from the lactose and lots of pineapple flavor. And then like there is bitterness, but it's pretty mellowed out. So I don't know if it hits that 90 IBU, but
I'm getting a lot of bitterness on the back end here. Like almost kind of like a lingering aftertaste where it just kind of stays there. It could potentially be from the pineapple. I don't know, but in terms of
and that's what I was just thinking too.
This is a beer that will be a sipper. You're not going to be chugging this one.
Yeah, I'm getting the same sort of thing, kind of with that bitterness kind of in the back end, but it's the pineapple is coming through strong at the beginning, and it does linger around, and it's nice. I like it, and again. We're talking about 9.5%. So I don't know, is anybody else kind of getting a little bit of that kind of alcohol punch at the beginning? And then again, it kind of is subdued, right? Like it mellows itself out. That's
I'm kind of glad that I'm glad that we did this first and not the Sour Cherry Stout. I think this one would have hit maybe a little bit harder on the second one.
I'm glad you mentioned that. I'm glad you mentioned that, Brett, because maybe that'll be a producer special in the future about what beers to drink when, right? Because when you get a flight, I think we might look at that if we do a flight special. So I don't know.
Absolutely.
I don't know. We'll leave that in the producer's hands, but I think that is important to say that if given these two beers, you drink this one first and then you go to the stout and porter next, right? So
I agree. You always go lighter to darker no matter what the ABV is on it. Anyway. I'll leave that up to producer Devon or another producer that we pick out of random. Who the hell knows, right?
Whoever the lucky producer is that week.
Exactly. Yeah, we're accepting applications, 24/7.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a producer, let us know.
Yeah, let us know. We'll take guest producers. We'll see what we can figure out. Do a little joint venture.
Really, every producer is a guest.
Yes, that is true.
True.
The top 5 flavor profiles So I don't know. We've been doing this a little bit different every time. Just, I guess it depends if Brett wants to say something. But
do you want me
we've
to?
gone through. We've gone 1 through 5, and then he comments on each one. It's been very different. So, all right, let's go through this here. We're going to do the number 1. So pineapple.
Yes, I think we're
I
all
would
in agreement there.
Yeah, totally
Okay,
agree with
yeah.
that. And producer Devon is in agreement there too.
Right. So thick as a flavor profile. I was looking for thick in the last episode there. So
You were.
doesn't have a couple C's on it, but this one ends with a K. We've got strong is number 3. 4
I
is
agree.
smooth. 4 is smooth. And then 5 is pine. So Devin did make a comment that the aftertaste a little bit. I'm not getting a whole lot of pininess, but that might just because it's the bitterness that I'm getting more so.
Yeah, I think
comments?
I think the pine is kind of giving it that bitterness. That's kind of the way I get it, but
Okay.
I agree that it's probably the fifth one.
I agree. Is anybody getting mango out of this?
No, not
Not
really.
a whole lot. No.
I get it more kind of in the middle. So I get pineapple and booze off the hop, and then mango in the middle, and then it kind of ends with that bitterness.
Wow.
Interesting.
Fruit salad.
Literally a fruit.
Brett, do you have anything you want to say about the old Canaruski?
Yeah, I guess that's my tagline, eh? Just so you know,
It's your
my
shtick.
shtick. The can has actually 2 leaves, 2 green, and then a black leaf in the middle of 2 silhouette people. It almost looks like it could be
the shade. Nope. Okay.
The funny thing is, if that you, yeah, no, nothing, not at all. If you were to see this same kind of label at like a cannabis facility, you would think it'd be weed.
Not at all.
No, I'm just saying because of the green leaves, right? The green leaves, but no THC.
So this
no
is
stevia in this one.
This is the second week in a row that Brett has mentioned weed. So maybe you're branching off to a marijuana connoisseur podcast.
Yeah.
Sorry, boys. This is my last one.
Yeah, this is the time. I see this as your tropical palm leaves that you would see. You referenced Cuba earlier. Maybe you'd see these here because this beer does take you away on that tropical vacation unless you're 80 and you're on a cruise.
Yes. Yeah. All right. Well, why don't we check out what some of the other Untapped users who have had this have had to say about it?
Yeah. So we're looking at the first one is Terra C. And the handle is _TLC. On January 23rd, said this: some tart, fruity, juicy goodness with a side of the United States of Terra, which is interesting because obviously she's watching a TV show based off of their name. So Terra and Terra or Tara and Tara, however you want to go with it. And they gave it a 4.5 out of 5. So
has anybody actually ever seen United States of Terra? No?
Never.
Yeah, it's about a schizophrenic person. Anyway, besides the point, moving on. The next comment comes from Jason C., and his handle is Bucks2020. And he commented on January 16th, look at that color, great aroma, lots of flavor, dangerously smooth. A little green, but it's still a fine brew with a cheers emoji. And just so you know, Jason's Untapped profile states that he is a home brewer, along with both a Pats and Buccaneers fan. I feel as though he's more like a Tom Brady fan club person.
Sounds about
bandwagon.
Right?
Hop on the bandwagon, baby.
And I hope that Jason has stumbled out of grain and grit a couple times like Tom Brady was during his Super Bowl celebration there a couple days ago.
Champions.
Throwing the trophy. Yeah. When you're a 7-time champion, you can do whatever you want.
Do whatever you want. Yep.
And the other thing to note is that he was drinking the beer out of a tulip glass, not an IPA glass. So obviously he needs a Tacoma Chris in terms of his proper glassware.
He needs to listen to producer special number 2.
Yeah. Well, we'll send him the link right away. He did rate the beer a 4.25 out of 5.
Nice. Well, I'll get our rating started. So I'll be honest, at the beginning of this beer, I was a little higher and it's come down a bit the more I've drank it. So I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5.
Yeah, I'm glad that you said that because I was about the same. I think I was starting at a 4 and now I'm at a 3.75.
Interesting. See, mine has actually gone up So I don't know, maybe that's just my taste buds. So I was actually starting at a 4, and I think now that I'm getting it more mellow and everything, 4.25 is going to be on my end. And producer Devon coming in hot with a 3.75 rating. So this means that our quick math that Devon's going to do is he's going to give it to Chris for the actual total.
Yes, he's gonna do it telepathically to me this time. So overall, it's a 3.9375, which we're gonna bump up to a 4.
Bump it up. All right, so that concludes that beer. We're gonna be back with a second beer from Grain and Grit on our way next. And we're back. So the second beer we're having today is a Sour Cherry Stout called Night Owl. Its ABV sits at 6%. And again, unlisted on the IBU.
So
interesting. They
yes.
don't like to give us information on the IBUs.
No.
Yes, they don't want us to know their bitterness units. Anyway, Night Owl. Night Owl brings major cherry and dark chocolate vibes with notes of lemon and cinnamon. It's very tart up front, but has a dry finish.
Nice. So
How dry?
I
we'll
don't
find
know.
out.
Yeah, that's the right answer.
So on Untapped, there's only 54 check-ins, but it does have a rating of 3.79 bottle caps out of 5.
Okay. So
you know what that sound is?
You look very.
You know what that sound is? Let's open her up. I'm interested to try this with the sour and the stout.
And as we were talking earlier, I think all of us have really only had one sour stout. I can't remember what brewery it was from. I know it's on tap somewhere. That takes me a long time to find things. So I know I probably won't be able to find it. But Chris, you said that you had a sour stout before, right?
Yeah, I have. So before hitting on that, I'll just mention the glass that we're drinking out of. So obviously this one's a little unique as a sour stout. So we are drinking this out of a tulip glass today. So kind of fits the stout and the sour on both ends. So make sure to use your proper glassware. But yeah, me and Devon actually have had a beer from Forked River, which was a sour stout. And it was actually really, really good. So I'm excited about this one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
what kind of aromas are you getting first? Sorry.
You poured it? I poured it, and I've got a good head on her, which is going to be nice for the picture.
There was a very strong head retention for sure.
Take a look at her Instagram because the picture will show a little bit of head on it, maybe an inch of head.
Who doesn't like their head, right? Anyway,
So I'm getting a little bit of cherry on the nose, with a little bit of kind of that maltiness that you would get from a stout as well.
I'm getting that dark chocolate vibe more than the cherry personally off the aroma. I'm thinking the taste will probably have more of the cherry in it versus the dark chocolate.
Yeah.
Tyler, are you kind of shaking your head a little bit over there? So let me tell the people.
Tell the people. I'm caught in between. Like I don't know if it's just completely balanced maybe. But like I'm not getting complete chocolate. I'm not getting cherry. It really is a balance in between both, right? Like I don't know, maybe it's a left nostril, right nostril thing, picking up different receptors. But that's what I'm kind of feeling. And then the producer Devon saying that there's kind of like a roasted cherry almost, and maybe that's what it is.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm interested in that. Yes. So, let's see. Should we get into actually drinking the beer itself?
Not yet.
Really?
Not yet. So
why not?
When we were talking about the head retention, is it fizzed up and then it just subsided, right?
Yeah, it disappeared pretty
correct.
quickly, actually.
It almost poured out of the can like it was nitralized. I know it's not nitralized, but it almost poured out of the can like it was.
Is that the word we're using? Nitralized?
I think it's
Let's check the
nitro
dictionary.
infused.
Yeah, look it up in the English dictionary and see that's a word.
Like nitro infused is what you were saying, right?
Yeah, that's what I meant. Totally meant. 100%.
Yeah. No, I don't think it was nitralized at all. But I get what you're saying is like that head was around I'm going to be honest, like I didn't pour it properly. Like I had a couple inches of head on it. I had to let it sit for a second, but it again, it calmed itself down, and so that's how
And that might
is.
be like more the sour influence, because sours don't really have that head retention.
Yeah.
Sure, that is true.
It's funny you say that, because again, maybe it's just that balance, because it kept the head around a little bit.
Yeah.
And then just fizzled out, which is that sour stout kind of finish. So, interested to see how this will taste. Chris, do you have a point you want to kind of make here? Something interested? I don't know if you talked about it or not.
Yeah. So it is kind of interesting, because we talk about Untapped all the time and how beers are classified. So the sour stout is actually not a beer classification on Untapped. And this beer is actually listed as just a sour, which is kind of interesting. So we'll see whether it has maybe more of a sour flavor than a stout flavor. But
yeah, so Brett mentioned before about having, like, maybe we've had one before, a sour stout previously, and we can't look that up because that flavor profile isn't in, or that beer profile, I guess, is not in Untapped.
Yeah.
Interested to see, as you said, if this is more sour than it is stout. Based on it being put into the sour category. And I think the way that it works is the brewer or the brewery picks kind of how they want that information to be put into Untapped most of the time.
I believe
if we go back to our conversation with Imperial City, which has Untapped kind of affiliated with them. So I'm interested to see how this one kind of rolls itself out. So you guys want to get into it? Fight?
So I was going to say, before we get into this, what do you think it's going to taste like? More of a sour, or more of a stout? I'm gonna be on the sour side.
I'm gonna say sour too.
See, I'm gonna go stout, not just to be a pain, but I think I'm gonna go. It tastes more like a stout, but it'll feel more like a sour, if that makes sense.
Okay.
The way that it's kind of reacted, I think it's gonna be that, and I believe Devon is agreeing with myself. So
okay,
we've
2
got
and 2,
a little 2
and 2. Okay,
little twofer for the boys.
All right, little twofer. All right, let's get it ready.
Let's get into her.
Okay. I like this a lot.
I like it too, and I think it really.
I'm right.
It's really kind of in the line, in the middle.
You can say I'm right.
I'm
right.
I think it plays on both sides of the fence.
Yeah,
in terms of
sure. Yeah, Fife is coming over here. Brett, welcome to the Stout Club. Population Devon and Tyler. Glad to have you.
Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna migrate here, Chris. I think it does taste more like a stout than it does a sour. The aroma is more of a sour, but once you get into the taste, definitely stout, 100%.
Okay,
so I'm gonna be on an island here. And I'm gonna say it's still more like a sour, but it's like sour up front and then kind of transforms almost into a stout.
Chris, if you want to be on an island, maybe you should consume some double palms. This here is not double palms. So get off your island and pick a camp. But I do feel I'm going to give myself a pat on the back. Is it tastes like the stout, but acts like the sour portion, right? Like it's not thick. It goes like a sour, but it does taste like a stout with the cherry.
It is a damn great mixture. 100%.
Yeah, they did a good job.
I am over the moon on this beer, if you will, in terms of talking about nights.
If we kind of cut back to some of our earlier episodes, whether it's the first, second, or third one, I think it was when we were talking the second or third one, but we talked about the training wheels, right? For different kind of beers to kind of get into craft beer. This is taking that step further that says, okay, you've had your training wheels. You're now into craft beer. Now you might not be a stout or porter guy, and self-proclaimed, I'll go out on a limb and say Brett and Devon were the same as myself. We were very hard set against stouts and porters a while ago. Is that this is kind of like that training wheel beer to move you into that stout and porter category. What do you guys think of that?
No, I totally agree. Like, I mean, I was not a stout person maybe until I would say mid 2019. Then I started, okay, I'll buy one. Okay, I'll buy another one. And all of a sudden now I find myself going to the LCBOs, buying stouts on the regular, or going to breweries and trying a stout off a tap. Like it's just one of those things that stouts almost become like a second or third favorite style, especially when they're not coffee flavored, right? So for example, like this one, that has the dark chocolate malts, but also has some sort of like flavor involved with it, just brings it over the edge versus like just a straight stout, right?
Yeah, I would definitely agree that it's kind of like the training wheels, right? Where if someone's, had sours and they're kind of more interested in that, then I think this is a great place to start for people if they want to be introduced into stouts.
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I think we're spot on there, and
Yeah.
I think Devon's chiming in here. Chris, do you have Devon's thoughts on that?
Yeah, so he definitely agrees with that, kind of with the training wheels portion. So saying that it's adds a bit of sour to offset the coffee flavor, because there is a little bit of coffee flavor in it, especially for me coming on the back end, because Devon is not a coffee drinker.
I am not getting the coffee flavor on the back end. I'm getting the cherry and the sourness, but also getting like the dark chocolate malts. And I'm a big fan of like, chocolate covered cherries and whatnot. So this beer is really hitting it strong for me in terms of all the flavors, but I'm not getting the coffee.
So I'll take that opportunity when we pointed out Jeff, my father, his beautiful glasses and the bottle cap, bottle glass kind of glasses.
Thanks for setting it out.
Yeah, he's a big chocolate covered cherry kind of eater as well. And I agree with you, Brett, but I also agree with Devon and Chris a little bit on the aspect that I do get a little bit of the coffee flavor on the back end myself. So let's get to can design, baby.
Yes,
let's go.
I was just going to say that. In terms of the can, it does have an owl on it. I mean, amazing how that happens. Amazing. But it almost looks like the owl is a little bit stunned. Like it's stunned that this beer tastes so good. Just saying.
It's true. And we talked a little bit at the beginning about Lindsay's kind of graphic design background. Like the can art on these two beers that we've had is really great.
100%.
Again, simple and clean. Like it doesn't have to be complicated. And you see sometimes with like Collective Arts, very mosaic, very beautiful cans, but the same sort of thing is like you can achieve simplicity in these, right? And that brings its own message. So Brett, hit us with the top 5 flavor profiles, big guy.
I was just going to say, going back to the can, simple but attractive, right? That's what we want. In terms of the top 5 flavor profiles, cherry.
Yeah.
Sour.
Subdued, but sour. Yep.
Coffee.
Yeah.
I'm getting the coffee for sure.
No.
Devon and I are like a 50-50. No. Yep.
Chocolate? Yes. I'm getting the chocolate vibe for sure.
Same thing with the coffee. I think I'm getting that a bit.
What about floral? I'm not getting any floral in this whatsoever. I know it says on the can that it does have hibiscus, lavender, and chamomile in it, but I'm not getting any of that off the beer itself.
I'm not getting that. And I've had like a Black Forest kind of cake beer before, and it's very similar to that. In that kind of flavor. This is a little bit, as I guess, a little bit lesser in the flavors, but I wouldn't say lesser. Maybe that's the wrong way of putting it, but it's portrayed in a bit different. But I don't get the floral, even though it was Valentine's Day just not too long ago. So.
All right. Well, anyway, let's get our thoughts about some Untapped users. So, Tyler, I believe you had the first one.
Yeah. So Larissa K, which is L Kroll, Kroell is the handle, has this to say. We don't have a date on this one, actually, which is just embarrassing, but that's okay.
Dated sometime before today, as that sound.
Yeah, there it is. Perfect way to start off my long distance membership. So this is what we're going back to. So another one, long distance membership, best Christmas present. So Larissa likes their beers. They really pulled it off. The sour component just makes the stout better. 4.25 out of 5. And Larissa, it's a great comment, and I agree with you.
Nice. Yeah. Glad to see Larissa's enjoying the long distance membership. So I'll grab the next one, which is from Greg M. Gregarious 766. So on January 25th, commented, no dice with the dice rolling emoji. So Greg rated it only 1.75 out of 5. So
wow.
And Greg seems to be a low rater because he's rated his average rating is only 3.48 out of 5.
I'm interested because did Simone A Duff. Did they have this beer as well when we were doing the research, or did you find that out, Brett?
I believe they did. I did not catch their rating. I was a little distracted. What can I say?
No, fair enough.
Well,
so
apparently
shout out to
they were tagged in Greg's check-in.
They were definitely tagged for sure.
So shout out to Greg and shout out to Simone D. All right. So out of 5 bottle caps, I'm going to give my rating on that. You know what? I think it's a very balanced beverage, and I'm going to give it a 4.25.
Yeah, this boys is going to shock you. All right. Are you guys ready for this?
Oh, fuck. He wants it. Fife wants it, baby. He wants it.
5.
Oh, my God.
Our first 5.
This beer is absolutely fucking phenomenal. What can I say?
Wow.
I got that club. I love this beer. I've had a couple cherry stouts, cherry sours, etc. This is top goddamn notch.
Wow.
I want more of this.
Note to myself in post editing to throw in some kind of or something. We'll get something in.
For sure.
Please do.
All right, let's leave a break.
Perfect 5.
All right, go.
All right. Well, I don't even know how I can follow that. We had our first 5, so I'm not as high on it, but I'm going to come in with a 4. And producer Devon is giving it a 4.25.
Yep. And so we're just doing a little bit of math on this one. Devin's
I
think he's just calculation.
That 5.
Oh my goodness. So we've had a couple of good beers already this season. This is going to be up there with them. So when we are looking at our beer of the year, you're going to find out at the end of this beer season for us. Right now we are looking at a 4.375 out of 5.
Hey,
yes, is the comment from Devin.
I'm going to bat for this beer for sure, 100%. Just gonna say.
As long as it's not a change up. Swing and a miss.
Sure, you're right. So that's all for our conversation on Grain and Grit Brew Co. Okay?
Yeah.
We talked about it all.
We did
there
it.
It is.
So, up next, we're going to talk about our favorite food to cook, as well as our favorite meal to have out.
All right, so now we get to the fun part of the episodes, right? Where we get to talk about something different. So, inspired by...
Whoa.
Yeah, the 5 wasn't a fun part?
Okay, yeah, my bad. Okay, yeah, the beers are fun.
All right, get to the deep conversation.
So anyway, inspired by Lindsay's daughter, so she gave us a nice cooking tutorial on garlic during our Google Meet with Lindsay, and also I quite enjoy food, so it just makes sense, right? Maybe that's why more so I jumped into the fun part. So let's talk about cooking and our favorite foods. So what do you enjoy cooking, and do you guys like to cook at all?
So I'll jump in. I do love to cook. I really enjoy cooking. I like to watch Food Network, kind of their food competitions and everything like that, and then kind of do some of the dishes that they do, try to do that at home.
Admirable.
So
I like that about you, kid.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't turn out as well, obviously. So one of the things that I love to cook now is pad thai, which is
love me some good pad thai.
Yeah.
So the one thing
next time, wait. Next time I come over then for dinner, are we having pad thai? Yes,
I will make you pad thai. Yes,
I don't know if you know about
Chris
this.
Chris is cooking pad thai for the boys.
Yes, I went to Asia one time. I don't know if you've heard. But
never heard. Yeah.
I'm still awaiting the slideshow on that.
I've got it prep, baby. Let's go. So that's good. Producer Devon does not cook, but does like to help out with meal prep. We'll have to fact check this with the cutting, the stirring, and grating. But in all fairness, I don't cook a whole lot. It's not that I can't cook. It's just I am what you would call lazy, probably. But I do love watching the Food Network. I do enjoy that. I was a cook at a local diner in Stratford when I lived in Stratford growing up. So it's not like I can't cook. It's just I don't find it totally enjoyable, the cooking aspect. And we'll get to something after, but I'm going to let Brett speak now.
Yes. So in terms of cooking, I hate cooking. I hate it with passion. I do it when I have to. I'm a very good finger cooker. I'm very good.
Whoa,
at,
what's that?
Finger cooker.
What's a finger cooker? Oh, yeah.
So it's where you phone or like go on your laptop, and then you click on go to a website, and you press a bunch of buttons, and then you enter your Visa or your debit number, and then magically it appears at your door.
Oh, the old Boston Pizza finger cooking commercials,
Yes,
right?
there you go.
There you go.
So as we continue, this is one thing I love about Brett. I've always loved this about this kid. Chris, if you have like a dinner that you're getting out of the freezer, you'd call it like a frozen dinner, right?
Yes.
Right? Brett, what do you call it when you get something from the freezer and you eat it?
It's a fucking meal that you cook. Pardon my French.
No, you call it a heat up.
Oh,
you always call them a heat up. I don't understand this, but like something goes in the microwave. You don't even know yourself. I know you better.
It's true.
It's like I've always found it interesting that Brett calls them heat ups.
So interesting to note is that, yes, firstly, that Tyler does know me probably better than I know myself. But a fun fact about cooking in general, and going back to Producer Devon's point in terms of saying that he does not cook. So I remember a great time when me and Producer Devon, because we've known each other for a while, I would go over to his house because we both lived in London going to college. And I remember going into his fridge for a beer once.
I know where this is going, baby. I love this. Yes, call him out.
And seeing about 18 Tupperware containers.
Yeah.
Because obviously he does not cook. So who does he get to cook for him during this time?
Mommy.
Yes.
Mom and dad.
Yes.
I love it.
And granted,
I love it.
His mom's cooking, phenomenal. Just
phenomenal.
saying.
Yep.
But 18 heat up, like Tupperware containers.
Heat ups. I told you, baby. I told you.
Anyway.
I love that. I love that about you. So when we get back to it, so some of the favorite foods and whatnot that Devon does enjoy, whether his mom makes it or not, is spaghettis. Can't go wrong with any kind of burger. So for myself, I think we should actually kind of break this down a little bit, but I'll talk about if I'm going to make some meals. I just enjoy barbecuing. I don't have a really great barbecue. I want to get a smoker one day when I get a house, get like a Traeger, even like a pizza stove, like a brick pizza stove. Mm-hmm. Love that. But my fiance, her dad makes phenomenal meals. I'll give a shout out. Rob, you're fantastic. I love the smoker, love the smoked meat. The guy knows how to handle a barbecue. The guy's got like 6 barbecues. So he knows what he's doing out there.
I agree with the exact same thing. My father-in-law does absolutely unreal in the smoker in terms of like ribs, chicken, everything else in between. Yep. In terms of what I personally enjoy, wood-fired pizza. All right, like you go to so for example, me locally, job site, or going to like Cowbell or Pazzo, anything like that. Wood-fired pizzas, absolutely phenomenal. I will do that all day, every day.
Yeah, I agree. Barbecue in the summer, it's almost every dinner is done on the barbecue at our house. I love cooking Italian and Mexican food. So that's
what I was going to just get to. I was just going to say, like, name like your top 3 like ethnic foods.
Yeah, so we'll do like so we have a stone pizza stone, so we'll throw that in the oven or even on the barbecue. Do a pizza ourselves. Spaghetti, like Devon mentioned, can't go wrong with a spaghetti. And then tacos, like you can't, like tacos are just amazing. That's probably my favorite food.
So what is it? Is it Italian, Mexican? Like what do we got? Give me 1, 2, 3.
Oh man, I'd have to go. Italian food in general is number 1 for me. Then Mexican, and then it's just everything else.
Okay. All right. So Brett, what do you have for your top 3?
Italian, Chinese, Mexican.
Okay. So what we have for myself, again, Italian takes it, right? Whether it's pasta or it's pizza, but Italian, Mexican, and then I'm going to go like that Asian. So we'll encompass like the pad thai or like the Chinese, but like had some good pad thai obviously in Asia.
Hey, Tyler, you went to Asia?
I did. Yeah, I went to Thailand, and the thing is when people say, "Hey, this is the get up for me," right? Like, "Hey, I want to have some Thai food." Well, you know what? Every day that I eat is Thai food. But All right.
I remember you doing that Instagram post once. And my wife literally bawling on the floor laughing because you used that pun.
Wow.
Hey, there you go.
Also, my wife. I used her. Sorry.
Yeah, there you go.
Well,
Got it.
don't ever use her.
Yeah.
So, Producer Devon says
Fair point.
Italian barbecue, Southern fried chicken. Not a huge fan of Mexican, though, unlike the rest of us. He doesn't like the spiciness, right?
He's not a Taco Tuesday guy.
Very Americano, very, I don't know, burgers, pub food, obviously, would be a huge thing for Devon,
So,
right?
let's touch on the spice a little bit. I love spice. I
Spice
can't
it up.
get enough of it. I love spicy foods. I don't know about you guys.
Make
Spicy
it hot,
the better.
make it often.
Spicier the better.
Oh,
But
yeah.
Devon's on that freaking Double Palms Island that Chris was on earlier. So we'll allow that to happen, I suppose. But
I could talk about food all day. Let me tell you. We could just have like a 45-minute conversation about food.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel we shouldn't.
all right,
Probably not.
that's fine. So
Especially not on a beer podcast.
No, not at all.
So let's wrap it up then, and then we'll say our goodbyes. So we'll be right back with Brett saying adios, amigos.
Well, as Tyler said earlier, adios, amigos. That's all for today's episode.
Thanks again for listening. Keep on listening every other Thursday as Craft Beer Connoisseurs releases a new episode, and the alternating Thursdays for a producer special.
Make sure to tell your friends, family, and your favorite chef, cook, wife, grandma, etc.
Nice. So, from all of us and producer Devon, I'm Chris.
I'm Brett.
And I'm Tyler, and together we're the Craft Beer Connoisseurs.